Mr. Shakespeare, good morning. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. It's the you caught me unawares.
I messed up your intro. I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, we won't bother with the intro. It's the 30th of December and Liz Cross is here. Go.
Yeah. Well, I was just telling Mr. Shakespeare, and I said, you know what? Let me hit the record button. I have to share this with everybody. So here's one way the mind probes can help you. Okay. So I have somebody that has been trying to get a job for quite some time. Okay. You know how difficult it is out there, especially for young people. When you're applying for jobs, those of us that haven't been applying for jobs in a long time, it's totally different, right? We used to fill out an application and then we may get called for an interview. Oh no, it's nothing like that now. So what you do now for most people is you fill out this application online and you have to submit your resume or curriculum vitae, as we say in other parts of the world, and you submit that. And then if you pass the criteria for that, oftentimes they'll email you back and they'll say, oh, okay, we just need you to do these online tests for us. And you can sit there for hours and hours and hours doing all these online tests, 180, 250 questions, right? And this is just about for every job you apply for. So imagine if you're in the job market, and some of you will identify with this. You're in the job market and you're doing this day in and day out. It's exhausting. And then you may, after you answer all these questions, hours of this, hours of that, you may get an interview. So in this case, this person got an interview. Now, he had been applying for many, many jobs and no luck. He finally got an interview. He went in for this interview and he did rather well, but they wrote him back and they said, hey, basically, we're sorry, the role has gone to somebody else. So he was feeling rather deflated because he felt excellent about the interview. So he emailed the guy back, good for him. And he said, hey, I thought I did, reasonably well. Is there not any other role in the company? Like, is there somewhere I can go? This is my field. This is what I love. And they wrote back and they said, I tell you what, we're going to have another interview, but for a different department, a different role. These are the people that are interviewing you. And this is when the interview is going to take place. Now, this role, he had no idea. The name of this role, and I can't remember the name, it didn't even explain like the job role, right? It had no affiliation with what he was going to do. So we spent a good probably hour and a half, 2 hours, and we mind probed the 3 people that he was going to have an interview with in a couple of days' time. And so we mind probed and we pulled all this information. We knew exactly what they were looking for in the candidate. We knew around about what questions they were going to ask. We knew the job description. We knew exactly what they wanted the person to say. And he made all these notes. He did it and he wrote everything down. Do you know he had that interview 2 days later and he absolutely aced it and got the job? So that's what I wanted to report. This is a way that you can use mind probes in a very, very useful task. And I've done that before. Even if you're a college student, right? And you have this very difficult professor and you've got to write a very, hard paper and this professor is hard to read and you don't know what this professor is looking for. Well, people have come to me. We probed the professor. We know exactly what their expectations are. And even though professors often write down, what they want to see and this is what we're looking for, they may not always make it clear. And so we went in and we probed professors before, teachers, bosses. If you think that you're in trouble with work, I've done readings where I have probed like supervisors, bosses, colleagues, things like that. How do they feel about me? What do they think about the work I'm doing? How could I make this better? I need to keep my job. What can I say to stay part of the company? And similarly, we have probed. So a CEO of a company who I do readings for on a regular basis has had a problem trying to keep staff, right? Because nobody wants to work. This was all during COVID. It was very difficult. And we got that the way you keep your staff loyal is that you actually incorporate your company or you start offering, fractional shares in your company for longevity. And that's what we got, and as we probed the employees as a whole, we found out like what they wanted from a boss, what they wanted from the company, what would it be for them to stay, because he needed these people. What they do is a little specialized, but nobody wants to work, right? That's the other problem. Nobody wants to work. So how do you retain your staff? So I just wanted to share that with Mr. Shakespeare because it's so awesome, and all of you as well. Those mind probes are not limited, right? Oftentimes, I probe somebody's husband, somebody's wife, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, or their parents. I probe them. Sometimes I have to probe to find out, how the parents plan to divvy up the will. I mean, all kinds of probes. So anyway, Mr. Shakespeare, what do you think about that? He got the job. We're excited. He starts in January. He's pumped. What do you think? I mean, good use of a probe. You've used probes before.
Yeah. What I think is this. So this is a great example of what I would call actionable probes. Okay. This is information that can be actionable. In other words, for the person that asked you to do this, they acted upon the information and they had a positive outlook. Yeah. So these are, in general, not just this, but these are generally my favorite kind of probes where, you get actionable information out of it. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it straight away on it. Might be something on a, on a more esoteric or a geopolitical level, but it's just actionable, So yeah, I think these are a great idea. I've never asked to be probed because I don't have a job, and actually I should have a probe. Will I ever get a job again? I'll tell you the answer, no. So well, I am completely unemployable, and nor do I want to be employed by anybody. So we'll cut to the chase on that one. Anyway, I've got a job. I talk to you.
Oh yeah, that's true, and you do a very good job as well. I mean, that's right. They're actionable probes, and then you have the probes that are not very actionable, right? Yeah. I find the probes that are not actionable are the ones like, why did he break up with me? What happened with our relationship? So those sorts of probes, I find that people, although they're necessary for closure, I find that it causes people to dwell on this person, but that's just human nature anyway.
Well, also, and the ones on celebrities and things like that. I mean, these people are not us, so who cares what celebrities? I mean, it just, I'm as you know, I'm not a fan of those.
No, you're not. But to be fair, I've actually never had someone come through wasting their hour on probing a celebrity.
Good.
Yeah, never. Our crowd's pretty smart. I mean, they're not going to waste their time. They're in the queue. And also, you don't want to waste your time by not preparing for your reading. Just don't do that. If you just show up for your reading and you're like, I want to see what they say. Okay, well, yeah, they can say, but you're not controlling the flow of information. You're just having an open-ended reading. And I can tell you, spirit can talk some absolute gobbledygook. I mean, they really can. They can talk about flowers, and they can talk about, you know, uh, what the weather's going to be like. Oh, I forgot to return my library book. You know, stuff like that. Don't do that, because you come totally unprepared for your reading. Wouldn't you like to show up for your reading and say, okay, I'm at a crossroads with this, this, and this. What should I do? Spirit, please help me. Your loved one is on the other side. They have the information. Grab that information while you can. Don't just sit there wasting your time waiting for spirit to give you messages, because I just don't see. I mean, those messages are beautiful, and they're always, you know, I'm sorry, or I love you, or I miss you, or whatever. Those to me are beautiful messages, but you're not getting the full weight of the reading. You could have so much more information. So anyway, and Mr. Shakespeare, you've done lots of probes. I mean, you've probed for one thing or another, for all sorts of different reasons, and those were also quite actionable.
Yeah, well, this is what I try. I mean, I try and make my, I try and make the probes actionable as much as I can. I try and make them actionable. If not now, in the future, if not by one or by many, I try. That's what I try and do, because I think that's the most useful basis to run these on. I mean, everybody has their own versions of what they want to do, and of course, if somebody wanted a job, and then absolutely they should book a reading with you, because it's worth it. If you can jump the queue, hey, why not? I mean, what a fantastic resource.
Yeah, and so thank you, but right, yes, that's true. I mean, I'm talking about this. My calendar is still currently closed. I'm still trying to clear the backlog. I was booked 6 months out. Okay, that is too far out for people to wait. I mean, I don't mind if you guys want to wait. That's fine. But what I was finding was that people would forget about their appointments, or 6 months down the road, anything can happen. People had moved, they had changed their phone number, they had forgotten. And I want people to have their reading, right? I want them to have their reading. I don't want them to miss their reading. Oh, I forgot I'm on vacation. And it's very hard to put people back in. I do fit them back in the time slots, but it's very difficult. My schedule is very tight anyway. And I just didn't think it was fair for people to wait 6 months. So you're right, Mr. Shakespeare. The VIP, yes, it's more expensive, but you're jumping the queue.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Is.
You land yourself a decent job in these economic times,
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
That's what they did. That's
Just
what
look
they
at it
did.
as an investment. I mean, it works.
Yeah, and the paper readings are also still open. Don't forget about that. The regular queue will open back up. It will open up to Patreon subscribers first. Okay, they always get first dibs on everything. They also get a heavy discount on all those readings. Big time discount, right? You get like $40 off the CTT sessions per session, and you get $30 off per reading. So, I mean, they get first dibs. These people have been with me for a long time. I appreciate it. I'm not raising my rates in 2023. As far as I can see for the foreseeable future, 2023 is not going to be a stellar financial year. I'm not going to raise my rates at all. So, but anyway, these mind probes, you can use them for everything. And in fact, this person, unfortunately, has mental health issues, was trying to convince me that he was Satoshi, right? And the first thing I did was went straight into a mind probe. Are you Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever their name is? And I got a no. And I was like, okay, yeah, thank you. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Shakespeare, for listening. And I just find it all very fascinating. So thank you.